Hey, welcome to the third video on exploring sexy spaces. If you haven't seen the first couple videos, I will link them below, and I definitely recommend checking out at least video 1 so you'll be up to date on all our terminology and our definitions. In this video, we're talking about kind of mental aspects of exploring sexy spaces. And I want to be really clear that when I talk about your mental state, I'm not making any sort of commentary on overall mental health. Your mental state is really an in-the-moment kind of thing. And second of all, I also want to be really clear that this does not come with any judgment whatsoever. If you're having a good mental day, you're having a good mental day. If you're having a bad mental day, you're having a bad mental day. Think of this as an exercise in accepting where you're at each day, each moment with yourself. First thing we're going to talk about is getting clear on our desires before we go out. So this is actually before we even go out and explore anything new. What kind of experiences are we looking to have? What kind of experiences are we not looking to have? We're getting clear on our no's and our yeses. How much of our personal selves are we going to reveal? Are we going to use a pseudonym, or are we going to use a real name? Are we going to tell people where we work or not? Are we going to mention that we have family or not? Are we going to disclose that we have partners or don't? What kind of physical touch are we okay with? What kind of sexual touch are we okay with? These are all things that you might want to consider before you go, for two reasons. Number one, if you're clearing your yeses, then you can trust your yes. You can also trust your no more because you've actually thought about it and you know what you're comfortable with and you're not comfortable with. So if anyone tries to poke you on it and they're like, really, are you sure? You can be like, actually, yeah, I am. I've thought about this. These are my boundaries. Thank you. Number two, sometimes we want to change our boundaries. Sometimes that happens for positive reasons, like we're having a really good experience, the vibe is flowing, we feel like shifting some boundaries, it goes well. Sometimes we aren't coming from a positive place. Maybe we're feeling lonely or we're feeling rejected and we decide to shift our boundaries from a disempowered place to like please other people. Often that doesn't go so well. There are other reasons we change our boundaries too, right? Maybe we're intoxicated, maybe we're aroused, maybe we are tired, maybe we're wanting to fit in with people. Like there are all sorts of reasons. So a good practice is to be clear on your motivation for why you're changing any boundaries. Second part of boundaries actually has a lot less to do with you and how you interact with yourself and you and how you interact with the rest of the world. So what's going on with your work life, your family life, your personal life, your kids, your financial situation. How is your ability to compartmentalize what's going on in your world versus where you're at right now? Being present in your experiences can really go a long way to making them positive ones. And if you're checking out, like where are you when you're checking out, and why are you out exploring these sexy spaces if you're just checked out somewhere else completely? Once you figure that out, whatever you want to do with that, completely your business, but consider it, answer what's going on for yourself. Third part of the mental stuff that comes up around sexy spaces for me is resilience, and that is your ability to shake off bullshit. Sometimes when we're going out in sex positive spaces or in spaces where sex can happen, we run into people who are sex negative or who are harsher than they need to be, or maybe they're completely nice people who just, aren't interested in us and have rejected us, or they don't understand our sexuality and they want to shame us over it, or maybe we are not where we want to be with our sexuality and we're shaming ourselves over it. This is all stuff that impacts our mental state and our emotional state and where we're at. And our resilience is our ability to kind of draw lines around that stuff, shake that stuff off, and be like, nope, I'm not going to deal with someone else's shame. It doesn't matter if someone else has opinions on my sexuality. That's their business, not mine. It doesn't matter if I'm unemployed right now. That has nothing to do with my sexuality. It doesn't make me, unmanly or unable to provide for people because I'm not employed right now. If you're a survivor of sexual trauma, sometimes you can really push yourself or feel broken or any of those things because, you've survived a trauma and you've got a lot going on. How's your resilience this evening? Are you in a place where you can shake off negative experiences? Are you not? Recognize where you're at and go from there, because if you're in a place of really low resilience and you have a bad experience, you can often find yourself in a shame spiral, right? maybe, you know, you were feeling a little not super self-confident this evening, or you're really pushing your boundaries and doing something that doesn't feel like 100% confident for you, and you approach someone and they pass you over. They say thank you, no thank you, or they're like, ew, why would I be interested in that? Or like, damn girl, that's way too freaky for me. Like whatever they say, they've rejected you somehow. If you're feeling super resilient, you can be like, that's about them. That actually isn't about me. They're not into what I'm into. They're not into me as a person, but they don't actually really know me. So it doesn't mean that I'm a not worthy human being. It doesn't mean that no one's ever going to love me. It just means that that person wasn't interested in pursuing anything with me. That's no big deal. You can kind of like shake that off and move on with the rest of your night because you're feeling resilient. If you're not feeling resilient, then you might wonder what that says about your self-worth, what that says about whether or not you're broken, what that says about your ability for anybody ever to love you. We wind up in a shame spiral, and this all becomes such a bigger deal than it needs to be because our resilience is low. And that's not a good or bad thing. You know, in general, it's a harmful thing to us because it hurts us. It puts us in a bad place. It puts us in a shame spiral, but that's fixable. It doesn't mean we're a bad person. It just means that we're having a low emotionally resilient or mentally resilient night, and decide where you're at from there. When I find myself in low resilient spaces, I like to be really gentle with myself and recognize that maybe now isn't the best time to push myself. And I know that if I go home and do some self-care that evening, I'll be more mentally resilient in the future. And I can go out and have those experiences again. So, hope you guys have enjoyed this coverage. If you guys have any questions or comments, I totally welcome you to make them below, and I look forward to engaging with you.